Very good evening to you all. My name is Alan Gio from Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Warm welcome to all. Today I'm going to say a few things about, I'm going to introduce few things about data structures and algorithm. So it is a very easiest subject. So this subject, it is the very basic subject. You must be aware of the basics. So through this data structure, you will be learning the next level theory, which is database and management, design analysis of algorithm. So it goes on, big data, it goes on like that. So for those subjects, deep learning, machine learning, everything for those subjects, data structure, it is a very important basic. So you must be well known about it. You must be very thorough about the basics. So here I'm going to give you some basics about data structures and algorithm. So what is data structure? We'll be just dividing those two terms into a single one. What is data? So data, it is plural, not singular. Data, it is plural. A set of data, a large number of data, a set of information, or a bulk of information can be called as data, which is a plural. Datum, it is singular. So you must know the difference. Data, which says about a large set of information. You should not call it as datas. You should say it as data, just data. So data, it is a collection or set of or bulk of information. But in singular, you'll call it as datum. Okay. So now we'll move on to the next one, which is structures. Data structures. Structures means what? Structures is none other than making it in some group, some pattern. You're going to arrange the data in some pattern. So that's what data structures. So there is not only one sort of data. There are different set of data, different sizes of data, different forms of data. So those data, we are going to arrange it. So that's what data structure. So as I said, data, it is plural, and structures, which is arranging of those data. Collection of information, you're going to arrange it. And what is the reason of collecting or arranging or making the pattern of data? What's the reason why we have to do it? Very simple. Only when you are arranging something, you can use it. I hope that you would have understood it. Only when you are arranging something, you have bulk of clothes. Okay, let's assume you're going to a store, you're going to a textile shop. No? So there you see a very bulk of dresses. So you just want to find out a t-shirt. So what you'll do, you'll just go to that bulk near to that bulk. So you'll be just searching one by one. Yes, you'll be finding out. You have to search into all the bulks which is kept over there, and you have to find the t-shirt. But let's put it in a different way, as if that bulk of dresses are arranged in a manner, as if in a way of size, in a way of color, or in a way of which is for male and which is for female. What you'll do, you'll straight away go. You don't need to search it. You'll find out your size. You'll be just keeping your limit, as if you'll keep a threshold, right? So that's what is that threshold? Your size and your color. So based on the style, the size, and the color, the dresses which are arranged, you'll take it, you'll choose it, and you'll just bill it. So when a set of information is arranged in a structure, in a pattern, the accessing of the information can be done easily. So the time consumption is less, and the working is also less, the processing also is less. And if those data is not structured, not data. If those data is not structured, if those data is not arranged, you have to search it one by one. It takes time, as well as the processing also it goes on. So that's why information has to be arranged in some pattern, some format, some way. Only then those information can be used. So that's what data structure represents. And there is the last tail term. What is that? Algorithm. You know what is an algorithm, right? Algorithm. Algorithm is none other than set of information or step-by-step of information or step-by-step of instruction, you can call it as step-by-step of instruction for doing complete something or to complete something, for doing something. I hope that you would have understood it. Algorithm is none other than set of or step-by-step of instruction to complete a task. Say for an example, you just want to go to a street. You don't know the exact location of the street, only you have the address of it. You are entering into the main road. So you would have seen in the right and left positions, boards will be kept. Path boards will be kept. As if straight, go straight, turn a right or turn a left. So through the boards, which is kept by those destination, you'll be reaching to the address which is given to you. So those boards are the instruction for you. I hope that you would have understood it. What is an instruction? Step by step processing. How to follow that process. That's what instruction. Can you all understand it? I hope that you would have understood it. So I'm giving a different example. You just want to go to an hospital. You don't know the location, only the address which is known to you. That is the first time you're going to the hospital. You are entering the road. So you'll be seeing in the right and left side, the path boards would have been kept it. Through these path boards, which is kept by the hospital, you'll reach the destination. That's for the hospital. So those are what? Instructions. Instructions to complete something. What is the thing you want to complete it? You need to reach the hospital. So that's what you're going to do. Same as like that in data structures and algorithm. Only with these instructions, you can complete a task. On what? On the data, on the information which has been arranged. So these three different words are interconnected with each other. So data, it is a bulk of information. Only if those information is arranged in some pattern, only if those information is arranged in a way, those data can be accessed, can be used, can be processed. And how come you can use those data? You need to give some instruction over it. You need to give some algorithm over it for doing it or to complete a task. So that's what data structure and algorithm. So this is what we are going to learn about it. We are going to learn about it in the future upcoming slides. So that's what introduction to data structure. So now we'll move on to the next slide. So what is an algorithm? As I said earlier, an algorithm is a sequence of unambiguous instruction. Unambiguous. So what is the term unambiguous? Unambiguous is none other than the instruction which should be very clear. The instruction which should be very, very clear. That's what unambiguous. The instruction what you are given, clear instruction, correct instruction, clear instruction has to be given. Only if your instruction is correct, you can easily solve the problem. So that's what which is given in the first point. What is an algorithm? As I said, an algorithm is a sequence. And next important term, which is a sequence. Sequence means what? One by one. As if A, B, C, D, it is a sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, it is a sequence in an order. So that's what an algorithm should be in a sequence. So sequence of what? Sequence of instruction. What sort of instruction? The instruction which are very clear, which are very clear. So people should understand it. People should understand it. That's what which is given. An algorithm is a sequence of unambiguous instruction. And what is the use of those instructions? So only those instructions you can solve a problem. That's what which is given. An algorithm is a sequence of unambiguous instruction for solving a problem. I hope that you would have understood it. Very simple. You're just going to solve a problem. You're just going to complete a task. That's what the problem which is given to you. You need to find out the solution. Irregular, you know, the size of the problem can be very big. The size of the input, what you're going to give, it is a very big input. Don't bother about it. Just give the instruction. Just give the path or the idea to that problem. Okay, so that instruction, what you're going to give, should be very clear and should be in a sequence. So once the instruction, what you're going to give, it is clear and very conscious. Okay, the problem which will be solved easier. The problem which is given can be solved easier. Okay, so that's what which is given. An algorithm is a sequence of unambiguous instruction for what? For solving a problem. That is for obtaining what? A output. So only if you follow the correct way of instruction, when a correct way of instruction is given to the problem, you can get the required output, exact output, correct output. So that's what, for obtaining what? Required output. For what? For any legitimate input or any size of input, any size of input in a finite amount of time. So as I said earlier, only if the data is arranged in some pattern, the processing of data, the finding of data can be done with less time. You don't want to search it. So that's what which is given. An algorithm which is sequence of, so you must use these two important terms when you are writing an exam. Sequence, very important one. Sequence means what? In an order. Sequence of what? Unambiguous instruction, very clear instruction, and to what? For solving the problem. And when you solve the problem, what you'll get? You'll get an exact output. Only if you give a clear instruction. Okay, so it may be the input size of your problem, it may be high, or it might be even very small. You don't bother about it. You'll get the exact result. Even though your problem, the size of the input is high, if your instruction is very, very good, if the instruction is very clear, it takes only less amount of time to get the output, to execute. I hope that you would have understood it. So I'm going to repeat it again. The instruction what you're going to give, to solve a problem should be very clear, should be in a sequence. Only then the output will be the correct output, the exact output can be gained. Okay, even though the size of the input what you're going to give, even though it is large, the time which is consumption for solving the problem, for completing the task will be less, within not much more time, within finite time. So that's what the algorithm says. So an algorithm is a sequence of unambiguous instruction for what? For solving the problem, that is for obtaining a required output. For any legitimate, that's what size, input in a finite amount of time, in the less amount of time. As you can see the block diagram which is given over here, this one. So this is the problem what you're going to solve. So how are you going to solve it? Through an instruction, through the algorithm. Can you all understand it? I hope that you would have understood what I said. So this is the problem, what you're going to solve it. Don't bother whether the problem, the input size of the problem is very large. No, you don't need to bother about it. Only you should bother about the instruction, what you're going to give it. If your instruction, if the algorithm is very clear and conscious, the problem will be solved in a very less time. Okay, so that's what just given over here. So problem, to solve it, you need an algorithm. Okay, this algorithm will be given to the computer. So input will be given. Sorry, it is hidden. I hope that you can see it somewhat. Input. Okay, so this is the input which is given. Okay, you don't bother about the size of the input, and when it is processed inside the system, it takes less time of processing, and it gives what? The output. So this is what this block diagram says. I hope that you would have understood it. We'll be moving on to the next topic, algorithm. As I said earlier about the algorithm, this algorithm can be represented in different forms, in various forms. Okay, only it can be given in normal language, what we are discussing it, or it can be given in some syntax like C or C++ or in Java. Okay, or through Python you can give it. So those are also instructions. Okay, so in any way an instruction can be given. You would have aware of the flow chart. It is also an instruction. So that flow chart, it is a pictorial form of instruction. I hope that you would have understood it. So flow chart is what? It is a pictorial way of representing the instruction. Okay, start, process it, follow it, and end it. Get the output and exit. So that's what. So that's what the first point says. The algorithm can be represented in various forms, in any form. I hope that you would have understood it. So the second point is none other than it should be unambiguity, and it should be clear. It should be very clear. The instruction what you're going to give, it should be very clear. It should be very clear. It can take any form. It should be very clear. And effectiveness. When the algorithm is given, no, it should react once it is processed. Can you all understand it? I hope that you would have understand it. Once the algorithm is processed out, it should give, the processing should be done in a very finite time. As if the output should be given as soon as possible. That is what the effectiveness of an algorithm. Fitness and termination. That's what. In that point, once the processing is completed, the output should be gained. That's what termination. And the last one, the correctness. What is that correctness? The output which is gained in a problem, for after the solving the problem, you should be linked with the input, based on the input. So that's what correctness. So if the input is different and the output is very different, it is not correct. I hope that you would have understand it. So the output what you gain should be interlinked with the input. So when these 5 different points are followed for writing an algorithm, an efficient algorithm can be coded. An efficient algorithm can be given. So when this efficient algorithm is given for solving a problem, it takes what? Finite amount of time, less amount of time. I hope that you would have understood it. So these are the 5 important points for algorithm, for writing an algorithm. As I said, it can be represented in various forms. As I said, it might be a pictorial representation, or it might be a normal step-by-step process, or it might be any way of syntax. An algorithm should be written, and that algorithm what you're going to code, it should be very clear. You should understand it. And effectiveness. Once the algorithm is given, the processing should be done as soon as possible. Then the output, and the output should be interlinked with the input. So these are the 5 different points, 5 different important characters of an algorithm. Only if these 5 different characters are followed, an efficient algorithm can be written. I hope that you would have understood it. So this is the historical perspective about the algorithm, the Euler's algorithm for finding the greatest common. These are very old algorithm. You would, if you have time, please go through these Euler's Euclid's algorithm for finding the greatest common divisor. Okay, these are the historical perspective. I don't want to start now itself regarding this Euclid's algorithm. We'll complete the basic, then we'll go on to the next stage of writing an algorithm. Now we'll move on to the next important notation of algorithm and problem. The notation of algorithm and problem. Please don't bother. The problem is headed. It is in white. I hope that you can see it. This is problem, and here it is input, and here this is output, and here the arithmetic solution. A solution is gained. Okay, so this is the notation of an algorithm. So there are main four things. One, the problem, and for that problem, what you need? The input, and through that input, you'll get the output. And how you get out? How can we get the output? Only through writing an algorithm. Only through writing an algorithm. So this algorithm will be given into the process. You'll get the output. So the algorithmic solution will be gained through it. So this is the notation of the algorithm for solving a problem. So the example for computational, see, what is that computational problem? Any problem which involves a computational process to get the solution, it is said to be as a computational problem. Okay, so statement problem. So that's what here we are using. We are taking an example of sorting. You know what is the term called sorting, right? Sorting means what? Arranging. You're going to arrange something. You're going to sort something. What is the thing you're going to sort? Something which is in order. It is not in an ordered way. It is not in a sequence way. So those data you're going to sort it. So that's what sorting. Say for an example, I'll take you to your school. Okay, so in the first session you'll go to the prayer session. Okay, what you'll do, what your PET master will do, he'll ask you to, he'll instruct you to stand according to the height order. But initially you will be standing with your friend or in a random way, right? In a very random way. But once the instruction which is given by your PET master, you will be standing according to your height order. The first, the shortest boy in the line, he will be standing, next shortest, and next highest, middle goes on, and the last boy or girl he or she will be standing at the last. So that last one, he or she will be height, which has more height. Okay, so that's what sorting. He's the heightest boy or girl in that line. She or she will be the heightest boy or girl in that whole line. So that's what sorting. You're going to arrange something. And you'll be giving that arrangement as output. But the input, it is not in an arranged way. I hope that you would have understood what is sorting. So here, statement of problem. So input, a sequence of n numbers. Okay, a sequence of what? N numbers has been sequence what? Some order of n numbers has been given. Okay, n number, the size of the number, size of the input is not given. It is the size of the input. It is n. Okay, so which is given inside an array. As you can see here, it is given in array. So first number, second number, it goes on up to n numbers. Okay, so the output is what? Reordering of the input sequence. Reordering of the input sequence of what? This is the input sequence. Okay, so you are reordering the input sequence so that array of I. Array of I means the first ith element should be what? Should be what? Lesser than or equal to array of j. Okay, so we are taking the first element as I and the next element as j. So that's how we are going to arrange it. So here the condition is given. Whenever I is what? Lesser than j. I is lesser than j, it moves front. I hope that you would have understood it. It moves front. Then this element is moves front. Like that, it goes on up to the last element. When this comparison is satisfied, You can see the set of elements. First two element, it will be arranged in an ordered way. The next two element, it will be arranged in an ordered way, which the same condition will be applied up to the last A of n element. I hope that you would have understood it. So this is the condition. If the first element is lesser than the j element, you keep it here, and if it is greater, you just move it front. You just move it front. So then the next element, the second element will be compared with that. So second element will be I element. The next element will be j element. Once the comparison is done, it moves to the next one. It goes on up to A of n element. So that's what instance. So instance, it is the input. You'll call the instance as input. The sequence, the array of 5, 3, 2, 8, and 3. 5, 3, 2, 8, and 3. This is the input which is given, and this is the condition. I hope that you would have understood it. So here, the algorithm. What are the algorithms can be done? Selection algorithm, selection sort algorithm, insertion sort algorithm, merge sort algorithm, and there are many different sorting algorithms. There are different sorting of algorithm, sorting algorithm. Selection sorting algorithm, insertion sorting algorithm, and merge sort algorithm. Okay, so we'll move on. So we are going to apply the selection sort. So array of I, array of 1, sorry, not I, 1 to array of n, the last element. So output will be array sorted in non-decreasing order. In what? The inside the array, the elements will be sorted in a non-decreasing. That's your output. It will be arranged in a non-decreasing order. So for that, you can use what sort of algorithm? You're going to write a selection sort algorithm. So it should be in a very unambiguous algorithm. It should be effective algorithm. Okay. So that's what we'll see it in the next forthcoming slide. Okay. So that's what. So these are the different computational problem. These are the different algorithm what we are going to follow it. Basic algorithm what we are going to follow it in data structure. The first one, which will be sorting. Just now I said sorting means arranging something, arranging the input which is in unordered, and you'll be completing it in an ordered way. Then searching. Searching is none other than what? You're going to search an element where inside an array. Okay. So this searching technique, it is very easiest technique. So the searching will be done by comparison also. Okay. With an I element, and from the I element to the last element. Okay, this element which should be searched will be compared with all the elements. Once when the search is found, the search stopped. If the search is not found, it goes up to the last element. So ultimately, the time consumption for searching takes more. So I hope that you would have understood it. I'm going to repeat it. So in searching, what we'll do, we'll be just search an element. So let's assume there are 5 different or 10 different elements, 10 different elements inside an array. Okay. So how searching starts now? I just want to find out element called 9. Okay. So this 9, or let's put it 9. Okay. So this element 9 will be compared with all the other elements inside the array. So if a match is found, the searching algorithm stops. If the matching is not found, it goes up to the last element. So ultimately, the time consumption for searching algorithm is more. Okay, so that is about the searching algorithm. So the next one is shortest path in a graph. Very simple. You would have aware of this one. Shortest path. There is a source. There is a destination. You need to find out the shortest path to reach the destination. So for finding it out, you will first test out the possibility. Okay, the distance. Okay, so say for an example, so I just want to go from India to from India to, or I can keep it from local itself. I just want to go from Tambaram, our college, Bharat University, to Mylapore. So from Mylapore to Bharat University, I'll find out what is the possible path, no? From Mylapore to Bharat, or from Bharat University to Mylapore. I'll find out the possibilities to reach the destination. Vice versa, anywhere I just.
So I'll find out the shortest path to reach the destination. Okay, based on the distance, it may be the distance or the time, okay, or the traffic. So by comparing these three different categories, by keeping these three different points, I'll fix out a path, I'll choose a path and I'll follow it. So that's what shortest path in a graph. Okay, so then minimum spanning tree, which is also some part of a graph, and preliminary testing. Okay, then traveling salesman problem, knapsack problem, chess problem, so towers of Hanoi, and program termination. So these are the different problems what we will be encountering it in data structures and algorithms. So these different algorithms will be using for solving any sort of problem in a data structure. Okay, so I hope that you would have understood it. We'll move on to the next slide. So some of these problems don't have efficient algorithm or algorithm at all. When we are using these sort of algorithm to solve a problem, some algorithm is not so efficient. As I said earlier, the searching algorithm does not, because it takes more time. No? The searching algorithm always takes more time. So in that searching algorithm also, some algorithms which is somewhat efficient. Not all the algorithms are efficient. So that's what they are saying. So basic issues related to algorithm: how to design the algorithm, how to express the algorithm, and proving the correctness, as I said earlier in the last before slides. No? So these are the basic issues related for an algorithm: how to design the algorithm and how to express the algorithm. So, and last one is proving the correctness of it. So then, as I said earlier, efficiency. So efficiency of what? The efficiency of the algorithm. So as I said, how the efficiency of the algorithm can be found out? Okay, through the input, the size of the input. Now, if the size of the input, even if it is large or small, if the algorithm takes less time to solve it, to complete it, to execute it, we can call that algorithm as efficient algorithm. So this efficient algorithm can be measured in two different ways: through space and time. So space, how an algorithm, we can call an algorithm an efficient algorithm through measuring the space, because you need a space, no? In a computer you need the memory to process. Can you understand? I hope you would have understood it. You need some memory space to do the process. Okay, only if you are using a memory, you can do the process. Unless you can't do the process, you can't complete the process, you can't solve the whole problem. So when an algorithm takes less time and less space, we can call it as an efficient algorithm, even though the size of the input varies. I hope that you would have understand it. So that's what the efficiency analysis says, that efficiency algorithm. So this can be done in two different categories: the theoretical analysis and the empirical analysis. So these are the two different analysis of an algorithm. So the next one, it is optimality. Okay. So next one, we'll move on to the design strategies of an algorithm. Okay. Brute force algorithm. Okay. Then the next one is divide and conquer algorithm, degrees and conquer algorithm, and transform and conquer algorithm. So for brute force, you call something as greedy approach. It is also an algorithm. Brute force, you're forcing the algorithm to complete something. You're giving some force to complete it. Okay, greedy approach is none other than what? You have a large input. See, I'll give a small example for it. You don't want to waste your money. No? You don't wish to waste your money, but you need all the benefits. No, you wish to use all the benefit with less money. So that is a greedy method. That is a greedy approach. Can you all understand it? Many students, they don't want to study. They don't want to take time to prepare for the exam, but they want more mark. So that is a greedy method. So that is a greedy method. Okay. So divide and conquer. Divide and conquer, it is very usual one. It is also an easiest strategy. In many movies you would have seen it. Yeah? If a war is going on, so all the troops, all the groups will be, I mean, the whole army will be divided into small groups. They'll be attacking in different position, and they'll win the war. That's what dividing and conquer, and decreasing and conquer and transform, same as like that. So you would have, there is another thing called backtracking and branching algorithm, and space and time algorithm. So that's what. So these are the different algorithm design strategy, okay, which can be used for solve a problem. We'll move on to the next important analysis of the algorithm. So as I said earlier, how good an algorithm, how you're going to test it. So your analysis can be done in three different ways. The first one will be the correctness. The second one will be the time complexity. The third one will be space complexity. So these are the three different important analysis for test your algorithm, how much your algorithm is good. Okay, correct algorithm. So correctness means what? The algorithm should be very clear. Whenever you are giving it for any sort of input, it should complete. It should be processed out, and the output should be given as soon as possible. That is what a good correct algorithm. And as I said earlier about the efficiency, the time efficiency and the space efficiency. The less when you're writing an algorithm for a problem, so that algorithm, if it takes less time to complete it, as well as less space to complete it, to solve the problem, to get the solution, you can call it as good algorithm, efficient algorithm. So does there exist a better? Yes. Does there exist better algorithm? Lower bound with lower limit, lower input. And get somewhat best algorithm can be get, and optimality can also can be given out. Does there exist a better algorithm? Yes, with lower input. What is an algorithm? As I said earlier, recipe, process, method, technique, procedure, routine. These are the different names for an recipe. Instruction, process, method, technique, procedure, and routine. These are what? Different ways of algorithm. Okay. First one, it is finiteness. The next one is definiteness. Clear, specified input, clearly specified expected output. The last one is effectiveness. So what is that finiteness? Terminates after the finite number of steps. See, first step is going on, started. Second step, it is processed out. Third step, the process is going on, and when the fourth step comes, solution can be given, and then it should not be processed again. It should not follow to the next step. There it should be ended. So that is what finiteness. With finite number of instruction, it should complete it. It should not repeat. It should not repeat again and again. That's what finiteness. So terminates after what? After finite number of steps. I hope that you would have understood that. It should terminate at finite number of steps. So that's what finiteness. Definiteness. Recursively and unambiguously, it should be very clear. Defining of the algorithm. The defining of the algorithm should be very clear. It should be very clear. Okay. Clearly specified output. The input what you're going, it should be given. What you're going to give, it should be very clear. It should be very clearly specified. Okay. And clearly specified expected. See, the input, they didn't give the expected term, but in output, they'll be giving it expected term. Because why? It should be linked to the input. It should be dependent to the input. What? The output should be. Okay. So that's what which is given can be proved to produce the correct output given a valid input. Through the valid input, you can get the expected output. Can you all understand it? So that's what the fourth point clearly says about the output. And effectiveness. Steps are sufficiently simple and basic. The steps, see, for starting the algorithm, just start the algorithm, start the technique. Very simple, easily you can understand it. Follow the process. You are going to add something. Add first data, second data. Very simple. That's it. End it. Get the solution. Exit. That's it. So that's what effectiveness says. Steps are sufficient, simple and basic. Okay. So these are the different important things of an algorithm. Why to study the algorithm? What is the reason for studying the algorithm? It is a theoretical importance, which is the core of the computer science, which is the important part of the computer science. Only then you can complete something. Practical importance, a practitioner toolkit of known algorithm, a framework of designing and analysis algorithm for new problem. Google, if you have time, if you wish to learn many things, just go and visit to Google's PageRank technology. You'll learn many things about the algorithm. Say for an example, many things you will be learning for. So this is what study about the algorithm. That's it. Oilers. I just need to skip it now. Now I don't wish to explain you about, because I'm trying to say about the basic one. So in sorting algorithm, we have different techniques, which are, as I said earlier, the selection sort, the bubble sort, the insertion sort, the merge sort, and last one is the heap sort. So these are the different sorting strategies. Evaluating sorting algorithm complexity, the number of key comparison which is used for doing the sorting process. So two different properties is the stability and in place. The sorting algorithm is called stable if it preserves the relative order of any two equal element in it. So whenever you're changing the instance of the input, a part of the input, it should not affect the output. Okay, the sorting algorithm in place if it does not require extra memory, except possibility for the algorithm, which should not take any exceeded memory. Only given memory can be taken. So that's what in place process. Okay, so that's about the sorting. Selection sort. Searching algorithm, as I said, key search element will be given. For searching element, there are two different important searching algorithm can be used, which is sequential search and the binary search. String processing, graph. So here, very important thing, fundamentals of data structure. So these are the important fundamentals of data structure. So these, whenever you say a data structure, these things should come into your mind. The first data structure is list. Okay. Then in list, array, linked list, string. Okay. And stack, queue, priority queue, and heap. Okay. Then graph, tree and binary tree, set and diction. Okay, so whenever data structure, whenever you say about the data structure, these data structure should come in a list. Say for an example, array data structure. Array is what? Collection of same element. Array is collection of same element, collection of homogeneous element. It is called an array. List means what? One by one connected. Data is connected. It is interlinked with one by one. So this listing is three different types of listing, which is singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. That's what list is. List we will call it as linked list. So this linked list is three different types, which is singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. And string, you know what a string. Stack, you know very much known about the stack. Now stack is what? It is a way of arranging. See, these different data structures, all data structures are different patterns, different ways of arranging the data. Different ways of what? The arranging the data. So that's what list. It is a different form of arranging the data, different pattern of arranging the data. Array, it is a different pattern of arranging the data. Linked list, it is the different pattern of arranging the data. String, it is a different pattern of arranging the data. Stack, queue, priority, these are the different graph, tree, and set of deduction. These are different ways of arrangement of data. Linear data structure. So what are linear data structure? There are two different types in linear data structure. One is array and one is linked list. So as I said about the array, a sequence of n items of the same data type that are stored continuously in a computer memory and made accessible by specifying the value of the array's index. So very simple, very easiest to understand it. Let's assume there are 5 different blocks of memory. So each 5 different blocks will have a name, different name. Okay, will have a different label for it. So in 0, it starts from 0. In 0, there can be an element can be stored. In 1, there can be another element can be stored. In 2 array, another element can be stored. Third place, another element can be stored. It goes on up to n. So these element which is stored can be stored in a sequence. So these element will be a same element. Okay, so that's what which is given, a sequence of n times of same data type that are stored continuously in a computer memory and made accessible. Okay, same type of element are stored inside the memory and those data are accessible. Those set of data are what? So those set of data are what? Accessible. So these are different. These are what? Different arrays. Sequence of n items of the same data type that are stored continuously in a computer memory and made accessible by specifying a value of the array's index. Okay. So next one, linked list. A sequence of 0 or so here in linked list, we'll be using something called nodes. What is node? A data. The information stored inside a node. Okay, a sequence of 0 or more nodes, each containing 2 kind of information, some data and one or more linked called pointers. Okay, so I just want to make clear about this node. The body of the node has 2 different parts of it. One, the data which is stored inside it. The next one, a pointer. Ultimately, you know what is a pointer. Pointer is what? Pointer is something which holds the address of the next element or the previous element. Okay. Pointer will what? Pointer will be holding the address. Pointer will be holding the address of the next element. Okay. So if say for an example, like your ID card. Now, what is the use of the ID card? The ID card holds the information of a faculty or a student or anyone. So if a person is known, if you lost your ID card, no, if someone finds your ID card, he's not very known to you. Through your ID card, he'll be finding out to you, and he'll be handovering the ID card to it. So that's what. Same as like that. The pointer holds the information. Pointer holds the address of the next element. So that's what which is used in linked list. Okay. So as I said earlier, the body of the node has 2 different parts, which is the data element, and the next one is pointer. Okay. So that's what which is given in the linked list. A sequence of 0 or more nodes, each containing 2 kinds of information. Okay. 2 kinds of information. One, some data and more linked called pointers to the which points to the other data. Points to where? The address what? Points to the next node. The address of the next node will be stored in the previous one. The address of the next node will be stored in the previous one. Okay. So that's what, pointer to the other nodes of the linked list. So here this linked list, as I said earlier, which is mainly 2 different types, the singly linked list and doubly linked list, which is given here. So singly linked list, very simple. The process is the traversal is only single way from one end to the another end, from starting to the ending, only in one path. Okay. But in doubly linked list, In doubly linked list, the whole traversal can be done in both the ways, from front end as well as in the back end. So the pointer will be used in both the sides, but in singly linked list only one. Okay, so that's what the next pointer in singly linked list, next plus previous pointers in doubly linked list. I hope that you would have understood it. So that's what we just given. See, so this is the linked list. As you can see, this is the linked list. Array 1, 2. It can be represented in array. Okay, list can be represented as, and I'll tell you this because this is the basic. I'm just saying about the basic. You don't bother about it. I'll let you know it. So inside, so there is only one way of traversal. So this is the data element and this is the pointer. So this pointer will be storing the address of the next node. So only then the traversal can be done. Only then what? The traversal from where? From first node can be done. If, let's say for an example, in first node, if the address of the third one is stored, the traversal will be leaving to this leaving the second element and goes to the third one. So that's the use of the pointer. Okay, it goes on. It is a one-way traversal. So as I said about the array, now here as you can see, fixed length, okay, contiguous memory location, direct access. You can easily insert and delete an array. In linked list, it's a dynamic length, okay, attribute memory location accessed by the following links. That's what the pointer can easily insert and delete. So these are the properties of array and linked list. So here, this is stack and queue. So up to queue, I'll explain it. Okay. After the queue, we'll complete the session. By the next session, I'll say about queue. Okay. So now we'll see about stack. A stack, it is also a data structure. It is a way of arranging the data. You will say, for an example, no, stack of plates. When you go to the canteen or if you go to the hotel, no, plates will be arranged. The person who's in the first one in the line, he'll be taking the first plate, and he'll be going out. So say for an example, if in the cleaning process, the first plate which is cleaned, it will be kept at the last position. And the next plate will be coming at the top. The next plate will be coming at the top. The next plate clean. The last plate which is cleaned, it will be coming at the first position, at the first top. Okay. So that's what stack. So the principle of stack is LIFO, which is last in, first out. Okay. So that's what last in, first out. So whenever you are using the term called stack, this plate, the pile of plates has to be coming into your mind. Whenever you go, as I said, whenever you're going to a hotel, we'll just imagine about the cleaning process of the hotel. So there, when the plates are cleaned, the first plate will be kept at the bottom. The next plate, which is cleaned, and will be coming to the next one. It goes on. The last plate will be coming to the last position of the pile of plates. So that's what last in, first of. LIFO. Insertion and can be deletion only can be done at the only one place. Okay, only at the one. But array insertion and deletion can be done at the any part. At the same as like that, the linked list insertion and deletion can be done at any part. But in stack, in only top, only in one end, insertion can be done and deletion can be done. So there are two important operations: push and pop. Pushing means insertion, inserting an element. Popping out means deleting an element. You would have played the game called popping, no? Popping, keeping one leg in the ground and popping, jumping. No? So that's what popping. Two different operations, push and pop. So pushing means inserting a new element inside the stack. Popping out means deleting an element which is already there. So those are the two different operations of the stack. Next one, we'll move on to the queue. The queue of customers. Let's say, for an example, in a railway counter, no, in a railway ticket counter or a cinema counter or a flight ticket counter, first person will be getting the ticket and he'll be moving out. Okay, so that is a queue. So next person will be coming. First come, first serve. That's what FIFO. FIFO means what? First come, first serve. As you can see, this is the principle, FIFO, but here LIFO, last in, first out. So same as like the insertion and deletion. Insertion can be called as NQ and deletion will be called as DQ. So insertion will be done from the rear end of the queue, the last part back of the queue, and deletion can be done at the front end of the queue. That's what, just imagine about it. A person is getting the ticket, he'll be moving out of the queue. That's what deletion. A new person will be joining at the last part of the queue. That is what NQ. So that's what which says that insertion can be done at the rear end of the queue and deletion can be done in the front end of the queue. As I said, the principle of queue is first in, first out. So these are the two different operations of the queue, which is NQ and DQ. I hope that everyone would have understood what I said, the basics of data structure and algorithm. Please study more about the data structure, which is a basic of all for all the things what you're going to learn in your future. So we should be very clear about the basics. Okay. So thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you all. I thank for the opportunity which is given. Okay. So thank you, everyone. And the forthcoming sessions, I'll explain the other things, other basic things of the data structure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all.